Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I got my glass of wine because I'm going to be telling you guys another story time about the witch. So many of you guys liked my last story about the witch. And to my understanding, many of you guys were curious about how this all began. How did I know that she was a witch? How did nobody else see that she was crazy? Let me just tell you the origin story of where it all began. Just to remind you about the whole living situation with my brother and I. So after my parents had split up, we predominantly lived with my mother in Fairfield, California, while we had every other weekend visitation with my father. When my mom decided for us to move here, I was around the age of 13, 14, moving to a new city, and I'd be attending a whole new school. Not to mention, I'd be transitioning at the most crucial time in my school life into high school. My life at the time was consumed with wanting to fit in. I didn't know anybody at the school. I just wanted to be accepted by my potential friends, and I was looking at the time for a potential boyfriend. I was extremely boy crazy. All I thought about were friends and boys. Friends, boys, friends, boys, 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 friends, cats. I never really worried about the moment that my mom and my dad would find a significant other. The point is, your girl was trying to find out where I fit in my high school, who I was. I was trying to figure life out as a teenage adolescent, confused and alone. I'm dramatic. So when my dad picked us up one weekend and broke the news that he had met somebody and he wanted us to meet her, you already know I wasn't really sweating it. Like, I didn't really think too much into it. In fact, I was genuinely happy that he found somebody to preoccupy him whenever my brother and I weren't around. So for the rest of the weekend, it was like opening up the floodgates. He had nothing but nice things to say about her. He would tell me, Mija, she is a wholesome Christian woman. She goes to church. She has a little daughter. She has a great sense of style, and you would love her clothing and what she wears and yada 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 yada. And I would just sit there and listen, and honestly we were hoping that he would find a good Christian woman, but just because you're Christian doesn't mean you're a good person. I know he was hyping her up mostly because he was in love, and when you're in love you're blinded. So anyway, the day comes. It's doomsday. I have no idea what was gonna walk into my life that day. So my brother and I arrive at my grandmother's house because my dad at the time was living with her, and we hear the doorbell ring. My dad gets up, walks to the door, greets her, and I hear her, and she's coming down the hallway. So I stand up and she walks into the room, and I see her for the very first time. My initial reaction was, basic. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Honestly, I didn't have much of an opinion yet. I can tell from our first meeting that she was the type of person to be very assertive, very direct, loud. She was just really confident in herself. She took reins on the conversation. You know, I appreciated that because I was very shy at the time. Didn't really know what to say, didn't have many questions, probably because of the fact that I was never very interested in meeting her or getting to know her. I know that sounds bad because, you know, it's my dad's first girlfriend after my mom, but to be honest, at that time, like I said, I was consumed with friends and boys and cats. So because of my lack of interest, I kind of got bored and didn't want to sit in the front room with them anymore, and I usually went to my bedroom that I was sleeping in at the time and would read a book or talk to friends on the phone. I'm an introvert. That was the thing that I did to recharge whenever I was around people for too long. But my dad did this thing. Whenever I would walk into my bedroom, he would call out to me and be like, Mija, come in here and spend time with the family. It's family time. And you know, I get it. I never saw him that much. I saw him every other weekend. I only saw him for 4 days out of 1 month. I get that he wanted to spend time with me, but I didn't have time to think about getting to know her. To make a long story short, there wasn't much about the initial meeting that struck me as, oh, she's crazy, oh, she's a psychopath. She was nice and she showed moderate interest in me and my life. Well, or so I thought. So after she left, my dad asked me and my brother what we felt about her. And we gave her the green light. Honestly, there were no red flags. It was the first meeting, so like, also, what do we know? Oh, it's so scary what people are capable of. You think you know. You really don't know. One particular weekend, we had plans to go to dinner with her. Afterwards, we decided to walk around the mall, and while we were walking through the mall, she comes up to me and loops her arm through my arm. And so we're linked together walking through the mall. We're coming up to this kiosk in the mall, and it's a kiosk full of belts. And at that time, I loved to wear belts. I never wore it for the purposes of holding my pants up. I would loop it in one hole of my jeans and let the rest of it just hang off the other side of my hip. She, of course, sees the belt that I'm wearing, and it's kind of beat up, tore up, because I wore it all the time, and she asked me if I wanted another one. And she picks out the same belt that I'm wearing, and I remember it's a black belt with silver studs in it. So she asked me if I wanted a new one, and I was like, yeah. So she grabs it for me and she pays for it. She was like, how would you like to get a new outfit? And maybe like some new shoes. I was like, hell yes I do. Are you kidding me? I'll take anything that you buy for me. So now I was starting to really like her. Who wouldn't? Did I think it was weird that she was buying me and my brother stuff? Of course I did. But who was I to question her motives? Well, I should have. Let me tell you why. So I get back to my mom's house from staying the weekend with my father and his new girlfriend. Not even a few days later, my mom gets a call. The CPS was called on her. So if you guys don't know what CPS is here in the US, it's an abbreviation for Child Protective Services. They respond to reports that are sent in about child abuse and neglect. Whose child's getting abused? Who's being neglected? Mom, are you hiding another set of siblings that I don't know about? Is you hiding them? Where are they at? Who are we neglecting right now? Because I know it's not me and my brother. To make that long story short, my mom opened up a can of worms. She told me that she also knew who called them. If you guys don't know, when somebody makes a CPS report, legally, it's supposed to be confidential. So that means that somebody out here is telling everybody that they called Child Protective Services on my mom. And guess who my mom tells me did it? Say what now? The witch? Oh no. Oh, no. This stranger, this weirdo called CPS on my mother when she was also buying my brother and I merchandise from the mall, thinking that she's doing us a favor and getting us clothes, getting us shoes, getting me a belt, taking us out to eat, because she out here thinking we looking homeless, starving and sleeping out here on the street, just acting like my old mama do, baby. Who are you? Who are you? Homie, hold up. Time out. Everything started making sense. Now, of course, my dad wanted full custody of me and my brother. He wanted to see us more. Of course, understandable. And I'm sure that his girlfriend knew and saw how tore up he was about us only seeing him every other weekend. But calling CPS though? On my mama? Sending out false reports of malnourishment and inhabitable living conditions. Even if they check that this is all false information and this is not true, it's gonna stay on my mom's record for I don't even know how long. I just know that it stays on her record. This was not cool. It was a line that had been crossed. There is no coming back from this. Not only do I feel like my brother and I are being judged, I felt like my mom was being attacked. Like she was doing something wrong, and there was nothing that she did wrong. None of those things were true. So, you know what I did? I threw out that belt. I threw out those clothes. I threw out those shoes. I was like, I ain't keeping any of this. I was not going to keep anything from that snake, okay? I was not going to keep anything to remind me of her, because now I see that you aren't sweet. You aren't caring. You aren't generous. You are the epitome of a scheming, manipulative psychopath, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. Sorry you guys, my camera turned off and I had to recharge the battery. I couldn't tell my dad. What if he didn't even believe me? Or even worse, what if I told him and he got upset with my mom? I couldn't tell him. And that was the end of it. I couldn't tell him. I had to keep it to myself. I secretly had to hate her. I'm dramatic. I was not looking forward to the next weekend that I had with my dad. This made me sad because it wasn't him. It wasn't his fault. I wanted to see him, but I knew once I went over there that the witch was going to be there, and I was going to have to act like I didn't know anything. I was going to have to act like I liked her. So the weekend came, and it's now time to go over to my dad's neck of the woods. It was time to face the demon, and I wasn't ready. It was like a switch flip. I wasn't looking at her. I wasn't talking to her. I was giving her the cold shoulder and ignoring her whenever she would want to talk to me or get my attention. I started to bring my headphones. I started to bring my homework. I read very large books. I used every and any excuse to get away and just lock myself in my room. So skip to the next weekend that I have with my dad. She's starting to notice now that I am acting kind of funny. She's not making that much of an effort to talk to me anymore or get my attention. This weekend was the weekend where she decided to be petty right back. So it's lunchtime, okay? I'd been locked up in my room all morning and I am starving. He asked my brother and the witch if they were hungry. They say yes. After they discussed what they wanted to eat, they decided on a place, and my dad asks if we wanted to go eat over there or if we just wanted to stay here and wait for him to bring the food back. My brother and the witch told him that they wanted to go. Then my dad looks at me and he goes, "Hey Connie, do you want to go?" I told him, "No, I want to stay here." The witch noticed how maybe hurt he was. He told me, "It's okay. What do you want to eat?" Before I could say anything, the witch, as loud as she could from the other room, said,
"Oh, no. If you don't want to come eat with us, then you're not eating at all."
I was kind of like shook at the time that she would talk to me like that, especially when I was hangry and I wasn't in my right mind because she drove me crazy. You know, I just walked away. I wasn't gonna say anything back. Maybe she did feel like she knew me well enough to talk to me that way. Maybe she felt like she was close to me, but no, that wasn't the case. Stay in your lane, lady. You ain't my mom. You ain't my sister. You ain't my friend. You ain't my family member. Why would you talk to me that way after 3 weeks of not even knowing you at all? I just see you. You're just in my peripheral vision, okay? And you talking to me like that? Oh, hell no. I don't want to get any sympathy out of this. This is just a story for pure entertainment. After that, I locked myself inside my room and I cried. I was a emotional, hormonal teenager. I just wanted to go back to my mom's house. So I called my mom. I asked her while I was crying, sobbing on the phone. I know, I'm dramatic. I told her,
"Mom, come pick me up. I don't want to be here no more."
She asked me why, and I told her,
"I just don't want to be around the witch. I just need you to come pick me up now."
Now, understandably so, my mother was very reluctant to do this. Since it was my dad's weekend, she didn't want to break any of the agreements exchanged in court. So, you know, she called my dad. So she calls him and she's like, "What are you doing to my daughter? She's crying right now. Go see what's wrong with her. She's asking for me to pick her up. What's happening? Blah, blah, blah." So my dad, the witch, and my little brother head back over to the house to go see what's wrong with me. So when they got there, the witch and my father walk into my room. I am covered covering my head with the covers. I don't want to see her. Get her out of my sight. Like, I could not stand the sight of her. He thought it was my stomach that was wrong with me. So he asked me, Mija, are you okay? Is your stomach hurting? Why are you crying? I can hear the witch. And she goes,
yeah, if it's a stomach ache, maybe you could tell me where it hurts.
He told me before she has healing hands and that she heals people. And she wanted to know where I hurt. I didn't want to see her, okay? Let alone have her touch me. My father was saying, let her lay hands on you. I wasn't letting up. I wasn't saying anything back. I was crying. I just wanted her to get out. And I was thinking of a way to like tell her, I don't want you in here asking me what's wrong. Let me just be with my dad. She kept pressing and then she put her hands on me and I could feel her hand glide past my foot and on to my leg. Without thinking, it was like a spasm ran through my body and I kicked her hand away from my body so fast it left her speechless. So she gasps and my dad tells her to get out of the room. So she walks out and it's just me and my dad now. I scared him. I know I scared her. He kept asking me what was wrong, what was really wrong. And I couldn't say nothing. I just cried. And he held me and he told me it was gonna be okay. And I knew it wasn't gonna be okay. I'm dramatic. The last thing I said was, I just wanna be with mom. And he let me. My mom picked me up and I left feeling horrible for leaving, but also so relieved that I didn't have to face her, especially after I kicked her. I kicked her! Who does that? Never got into a fight in my life and I kicked my dad's first girlfriend. So needless to say, after the incident, things took a turn for the worse, okay? Nothing got better. Everything got worse. And to this day, she still doesn't know why I kicked her. So anyway, you guys, now you know the origin story of the witch. Let me know if you want to hear more experiences and stories that I have with the witch. Let me know that you want to hear those stories by liking this video. Let me know how you would have handled the situation. I know I would have handled it a lot differently with the person who I am now. When you're in the situation, like when you're in that moment, you really don't know what you would do. I'm a savage for kicking her though. So if you like this video and you would like to stick around to hear more stories about the witch, make sure you hit that subscribe button and as well as that notification bell to notify you every time that I upload. You can follow me at Connie Styles 2.0 on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Alright you guys, that will be it for me today. Have a good rest of your week and I will see you next week. Bye!